Have you ever met someone for the first time, and within minutes, you had a feeling that you knew everything you needed to know about them? Maybe they were confident and well-dressed, and you instantly decided they were smart and successful. Or maybe they seemed shy and a little awkward, and you immediately wrote them off as uninteresting. What if I told you that initial, lightning-fast judgment formed in just a few short moments could be almost impossible to change, no matter what they do or say later? This is one of the most powerful and sneaky psychological biases that shapes every decision we make about people. It's called the primacy effect, and it's the reason first impressions are so incredibly powerful. The truth about how your brain locks onto that first piece of information is much more shocking than you think. Stick around to the very end, because the most important tip to break free from this trap is coming up, and it could completely change how you see the world. So, what exactly is the primacy effect? Simply put, it's a cognitive bias that makes us remember the first piece of information we receive more easily and give it more weight than information presented later. Think of your brain like a brand new notebook. The first thing you write on a blank page is clear, crisp, and unforgettable. The information that comes later might get a little smudged or scribbled over, or just not stand out as much. This is our brain's way of prioritizing. The first impression is the anchor that sets a strong foundation for a person's entire profile in our minds. When we're presented with a list of traits, we remember the ones at the beginning much better than the ones in the middle. For example, if someone is described as intelligent, confident, funny, and selfish, you will likely focus more on the first three positive traits. But if they're described as selfish, intelligent, confident, and funny, you're more likely to remember the negative trait and view them much more critically. The order completely changes your perception. Don't go anywhere, because we're about to dive into some real-world examples that will make you rethink every first impression you've ever had, and maybe even how you present yourself. This effect is everywhere, and understanding it is key to navigating the social world. Think about a job interview. The first few minutes are absolutely critical. Your handshake, your eye contact, your opening statement, these create a powerful primacy effect. If you start strong, the interviewer's brain will have a positive impression that is very difficult to dislodge, even if you make a small mistake later on. Conversely, a weak start can make it almost impossible to recover, because the interviewer will be unconsciously looking for evidence to confirm their initial negative judgment. It's the same in dating. That very first date sets the tone for everything that follows. In marketing, a brand's first commercial or their very first product launch is crucial. It's what creates the lasting impression that will determine if you become a loyal customer for life. This bias also plays a huge role in the legal system, where the order in which a prosecutor or a defense lawyer presents evidence to a jury can sway the entire case. First impressions influence everything from negotiations and pitches to friendships and networking opportunities, making it one of the most pervasive and subtle biases in daily life. The next section will reveal the hidden psychological reason why this bias is so hard to fight, and it has to do with something you do every single day without realizing it. So, why are we so susceptible to this trap? The main reason is tied to memory and attention. When we meet someone or encounter a new situation, our brain is on high alert. We're paying close attention to the details. This initial information gets privileged access to our short-term memory, which allows our brain to rehearse it and solidify it into our long-term memory. As more and more information comes in, our attention starts to wane, and our brains become less effective at storing new data. Think about when you're taking notes in a lecture. You're most focused at the beginning, and by the end, you're a little tired and probably missing some of the details. The second reason is that the initial impression creates a cognitive schema. This is like a mental framework or blueprint. Once that framework is built, all subsequent information is filtered through it. Information that fits the schema is easily accepted and reinforces the initial impression. Information that contradicts the schema is often dismissed, ignored, or reinterpreted to fit the narrative. This is our brain's natural tendency to seek consistency. If you decide someone is a great person from the start, you will likely rationalize any small negative actions they take, because it doesn't fit your mental blueprint of them. This all happens subconsciously, which makes it even harder to fight. Let's make this even more relatable. In social media interactions, the primacy effect is amplified. The first photo or post you see of someone can bias your perception of their entire personality. A single witty tweet, a perfectly staged Instagram photo, or even a LinkedIn post that highlights competence can skew your judgment and lead you to assume the person is always interesting, reliable, or insightful. In online communities, the first reviews or ratings you read about a product can color all subsequent reviews in your mind, regardless of objective quality. This is why first impressions online, just like in real life, are deceptively powerful and can guide behavior and decisions for months or even years. So, how can you use the primacy effect to your advantage? And how can you fight back against it when it works against you? First, use it to your advantage by focusing on your own first impressions. When you meet someone new, whether it's for a job interview, a date, or a networking event, you have to be ready. Dress professionally, offer a firm handshake, make eye contact, and have a strong, confident opening line. Preparation is your secret weapon. But just as important as using this bias to your advantage is fighting back against it when you're on the receiving end. The first and most crucial step is awareness. Simply knowing that this bias exists is your first line of defense. The next time you find yourself making an instant judgment about someone, stop and take a breath. Ask yourself, is my judgment based on what I actually know or on a fleeting first impression? This small act of self-awareness is the key to breaking the cycle. But just being aware isn't enough. The second step is to actively seek new information. When you meet someone new, challenge yourself to find at least 3 things about them that you didn't learn in the first 5 minutes. The more you consciously work to gather new information, the less power the initial impression has. And here's the surprise I promised you. The absolute biggest secret to overcoming the primacy effect is to practice giving second chances. This isn't just about being a nice person. It's about consciously training your brain to see beyond that first, easy judgment. The person who is quiet in the meeting might have been having a bad day. Or maybe they're just more of a thoughtful listener than a fast talker. The person who stumbled in their initial introduction might be the most brilliant and kind person you've ever met. The more you practice giving second and third chances, the more you break the power of that initial impression. You're teaching your brain that a quick judgment is not the full story. This isn't just about how you judge others. It's about how you judge yourself. The less you let others snap judgments about you get you down, the more you'll be able to move forward with confidence. The less you let your own negative first impressions limit your circle, the more you will discover incredible people you would have otherwise missed. This is the key to true empathy and connection. This isn't about becoming a master manipulator. It's about shifting your mindset from making passive, automatic judgments to being an empowered, fair, and objective decision-maker. It's about reclaiming your brain from subtle psychological traps and redirecting your energy toward seeing people for who they truly are. The journey to freedom from the primacy effect is ongoing. But with each small step each time you choose to look deeper or give someone a second chance, you chip away at its power. You build resilience, emotional intelligence, and a deeper understanding of human behavior. So start today, right now. Take a moment to think of one small, courageous action you can take, free from the influence of the primacy effect. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you had a lukewarm first interaction with, or simply trying to find something positive to say about someone you instantly disliked. Every little act of self-trust builds momentum and moves you closer to true wisdom, empathy, and fairness. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you make better judgments and build deeper connections. If you liked this video, you'll love my next one on why we procrastinate. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss it. What's the one thing you're going to do to fight the primacy effect? Let me know in the comments below. Start small, start now, and remember, judge less superficially, look deeper, and free your mind from the biases you don't even realize shape your world. And remember, every time you challenge a snap judgment, you strengthen your mind, your relationships, and your ability to see the real story behind every person and situation.